Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today we are going to make a silk wreath with some artificial blooms and foliage that we got from a company called David Christopher. So we have partnered with them and we're using some of their beautiful product. And honestly, I'm really very excited about the beautiful things that we have here today. So we have a pink hydrangea. This is an apple blossom, I believe. These are garden roses, and then this is clematis foliage, and then I think I have a little bit of eucalyptus in there too. They also provided us with some ribbon, some 2.5 inch wired ribbon. So we are going to use a grapevine base and make a wreath. My tools are very important. So one of the most important tools that I like to use when working with artificial flowers is my cobalt snips. These are just wire snips I picked up from the local hardware store. They are wonderful. So if you don't have good wire snips, these are the kind to buy. I also have some scissors for my ribbon, some 21 gauge wire, and then my hot glue pan. So a hot glue pan is also a must-have when doing artificial flower arrangements. It's just so much easier and it's less burning. I don't know if you've ever had any issues with dripping hot glue on you, but it will blister you very badly, and so a hot glue pan isn't nearly as hard to work with as a glue gun. So we're going to get started. This is an 18 inch grapevine wreath form, and I am going to start out with, I believe, my clematis foliage. Now the shape that that my client wanted was kind of full over here with a pop of something over here on the right hand side. So I'm going to give us some fullness here with just a little pop there. I'm going to start out with our clematis foliage. Now I think this is beautiful, y'all. I love its viney look. It's very, very pretty. And you can check out David Christopher's. We'll have their a link for their shop below this video, but you can check them out. They have a lot of pretty stuff and really great prices, honestly. So I'm going to take this clematis and I'm cutting it in several pieces. The wonderful part is that when you pick out a stem, if you would pick out one with lots of different, a good bit of length and lots of different pieces, you're going to get a lot more for your money. So I'm going to take this and I think we're going to glue it in right about there. So I'm going to take my stem. I always like to kind of hold it up, kind of visualize where it's going to go. Took my stem, dipped it in some glue, and I'm pressing it right into that grapevine. And you're just going to kind of separate it out. The next part is going to go up here. So see how I'm kind of coming down like this? Take that stem, dip it in my glue, and tuck that right into that wreath. And here is another piece. I'm actually going to cut it in half also. I love this vine. I think it's going to be beautiful in this arrangement. Okay, so this is giving me my shape. I'm going to save the rest. I have another stem and another couple of pieces. I'm going to save it until I get my flowers in, and then I'm going to come back in with my foliage to soften it up. The next thing I'm going to come in with is our hydrangeas. Now this is what we call a hydrangea bush. It has, I believe, 5 flowers, 5 total flowers. I'm not going to use all these flowers. I am going to take that stem and I'm going to push my foliage up toward the bloom. I'm going to kind of pull that out and cut that stem. I'm actually going to cut 2 flowers first. Pull that out, cut that stem. I'm going to save these, put them to the side. I'm going to take my bloom, kind of fluff it up, because when they come in boxes, they always come kind of squished. So anytime you get artificial blooms, you always want to breathe a little bit of air into them, kind of breathe some life into them. So I fluffed it up a little bit. There's my stem. I'm going to take it and dip it right down into that glue. And then I am going to push that stem kind of going up towards the foliage there. Ooh, that's such a pretty pink hydrangea. One of my blooms came off. So I'm going to find where it was located. I'm going to push that right back into place. There we go. And then I'm going to take my second stem and I'm going to tuck that one right up there. That's the prettiest pale pink, isn't it? Cut that stem just a little bit, dip it in glue, and press it right down into that grapevine wreath. Oh, I love it. I love that pink. Okay. I think 2 hydrangeas is probably plenty there, but I do still have 3 other stems, so I'm going to hold those for just a moment. Now this is, let's see what they call this. Cherry blossoms, a cherry blossom bush. Actually, they sent me 2. I'm only going to use 1 today. I like the color of the stem. It kind of gives you a dark brown, almost a little bit of a burgundy, which I think is so lovely. And I like when you work with artificial blooms and they've paid a lot of attention to the details. And that's what I like about David Christopher, is they really do pay a whole lot of attention to detail, which is always nice when you're working with artificial blooms. Now, I will say there's always a time and a place for all types of artificial flowers. And we get a lot of artificial flowers that are made specifically for cemetery work. And they don't pay a whole lot of attention. They just like bright colors, and they don't always even look like any certain type of flower in particular. These do. These really look like a really pretty blooming branch. So I'm going to take those branches and I am going to kind of bend them down and cut off several blooms. Try not to get them in my glue pan. Or several stems, not really the blooms, because I want the blooms to stay in place. All right, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of insert those into my wreath. Figure out exactly where I want them. Kind of tuck them in. And then what I'll do is I will come back and pull these out of the wreath and glue them in place. But look how pretty that foliage is. That foliage just really makes me happy. Okay, so I do like that. I'm going to add one more stem. Kind of come up here. Okay, so I really like that placement. So you can kind of play with it. It's always nice though if you don't glue it right away and kind of figure out exactly where you want something, then you can come back and glue it. So I think I'm pleased with this placement, but I'm going to come back with my roses. These are like a little, they're called a garden rose, and they're a cream color. Now there are 3 buds, well, a bud and 2 blooms there. So it's nice that you can cut those apart and be able to use those in several places, right? So I'm going to take that, and my thoughts are kind of come in place. And of course, this isn't perfect placement yet, but it kind of gives us an idea of where we want them to be. And then I have a second stem, and I'm throwing my stuff on the floor. Look at that foliage. The foliage is even so pretty in this. And then I think I'll come here. And I'll get them exactly where I want them. And then I think this piece will come over here when we put something else over there. Okay, so I don't know. I think I like that. I'm gonna hold this one off. Okay, and then we'll come in and finish. I'm gonna add just that touch of ribbon here and then a touch of ribbon there. So I'm going to pull these flowers next. I'm gonna pull this out and I'm gonna go ahead and glue all my stems into place. So I'm gonna take that stem, I'm gonna dip it in my glue and just glue it into place. The wonderful part too about artificial blooms, always remember they do have wire. So it's very easy to adjust them as they need to be adjusted. All right, so let's figure out what we're gonna put up here. Let's come in with our ribbon next. I'd like to use this pretty hot pink ribbon. It is a wired ribbon. It also came from David Christopher's. And I believe that I just want kind of a loopy bow. Now this wreath would be perfect for a door, outdoors, indoors. You can kind of do it however you'd like. It is such a pretty lady colored wreath, isn't it? It's so pretty. All right, next I think I'm going to just put a small pop of something there. And we do have a little bit of the clematis left that I'd like to add just a little more whimsy into this wreath. So what I'm thinking for our pop of something is a little clematis up there and maybe this rose and a little bit of our ribbon. So let's start with our bow first, and it's not going to be a big bow, it's just going to be a very simple bow. I'm going to leave my tail and I'm going to kind of make probably, I guess, another 3-looped bow. I'm one of those designers that I never really know what it's going to look like until it's finished. I don't know about you, but I'm one of those that I'm never sure. I kind of get all my flowers together and then figure it out as I go. So I've tied off my small bow there. And I'm going to take that bow and go ahead and attach it to my wreath. And this wreath can always be adjusted. It does not have to hang any in particular way. You know, there's not a right or wrong. It's all in preference, okay? Okay, so I tucked my rose there. Next, I'm going to come in with our clematis vine. This is a little bit that I cut off this one. So I'm just going to take it and dip it in some glue. We're going to tuck that right into place. Gosh, I love this. I wish we had this in fresh. That would be as sturdy as it is in artificial. And I love the fact that with this artificial, like even this vining clematis, you can cut it into lots of smaller pieces and make it go so much further. I love that. Okay, and then the rest I'm going to just kind of work right back into this side with all of our foliage, and see how pretty that movement is when you kind of leave it long. All right, and there is our pretty finished wreath. Again, I didn't even use all of the flowers that I I had prepared. This is a hydrangea bush. It's a 5-stem bush. I only used 2 stems. And this is the cherry blossoms, and I think I used 6 of 9 with that. And then of course 2 clematis stems, and then 2 stems of the garden roses, and then just a little bit of the pink ribbon. But there is our finished wreath. Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you like this material that we worked with today, please be sure to check out David Christopher's. It's listed right down below. We would love for you to check them out. Tell them we sent you if you're interested. Guys, thank you for being here. If you have any questions about anything we do here at Flowers by the Bunch, you can always ask. Drop it right here in the comments, and we are happy to answer any questions you might have. Be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button right down below. We'll see you soon.